Hello, fantasy baseball fans. I'm Paul Williamson. This is Fantasy MLB Today, a Sports Ethos presentation brought to you by FanDuel. As always, it is an honor and a privilege to give out this podcast, give you all some information, advice to help you win your leagues. Give your teams a boost before you get in conversation for today. While you some buy low, sell high hitters. Remind you to follow me on Twitter at Paul W underscore 34. That's at Paul W underscore 34 to get more of me asking questions. Hit me up. Same thing on Bluesky with no underscore. That's at Paul W 24 there. And make sure you follow the Sports Ethos Fantasy Baseball accounts at Ethos Fantasy BB on Twitter, at Ethos Fantasy MLB on Blue Sky. Get updates all over the in-season content, blurb feed, all that lovely stuff. Make sure you go to sportsethos.com and check out that blurb feed. It's free fantasy baseball analysis. Sportsethos.com, MLB tab. Click on the blurb feeds right there. And one last ask, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. Please rate and subscribe to the podcast. Anywhere you get podcasts on Apple, Audible, Spotify, wherever, and also on YouTube at Sports Ethos on the YouTube Sports Ethos channel. All right. So, of course, as always, I'll give you a stream of the day and FanDuel bet of the day. The stream of the day is going to be for Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. It's going to be Andrew Alvarez of the Nationals. He's only 3% owned, and this is a great strikeout play. It might be a slight threat to your ratios, but I don't think it's that much of a threat, considering he's an extreme ground ball pitcher. He is facing Boston, who is around middle of the pack in WRC plus and offensive metrics against lefties in the month of June. So it's not a pushover offense here, but Andrew Alvarez over his last 5 outings, he has a 3 ERA, but he's allowed a 400 bat BIP, despite being a ground ball pitcher with a 56.9% ground ball rate. And so I do think that we're going to see some positive regression on the bat BIP. I mean, 400 is ridiculously high there. And then also he has a 26.9% strikeout rate in this time. So you're going to be able to get some strikeouts here. He's stretched out as a starter. He got over 80 to 90 pitches. The only problem has been the hits. I mean, the bat BIP of 400 is not going to help your efficiency. It is a little bit of a high walk rate around 10%. But I think that if he just corrects the bat BIP at least a little bit, it's going to help him get the 5 or 6 innings, but accumulate a good amount of strikeouts, potentially get you a W. So I do like Andrew Alvarez for tomorrow on Wednesday. And then the FanDuel bet of the day for today on Tuesday is going to be Griffin Jax at 6+ strikeouts at plus 154 on FanDuel. He's going up against the Royals, who are pretty much an unaspiring offense. No, they don't strike out a whole lot, but they also don't do a lot of damage, which means I think that Griffin Jackson will be able to get a little volume here to go with his, let's see here, 26.5% strikeout rate with a 70.1% overall contact rate and a 14.7% swinging strike rate in his last 6 starts. So Griffin Jackson, the starter, has proven to be a high strikeout arm. He's been able to limit the damage, and I think he's going to be able to go 5 or 6 innings here, get to 6 strikeouts, and let you cash in at nice plus 154 odds on FanDuel. Let's get into some headlines, some news and notes that's happened recently before we get to the buy low, sell high list. The return of Hunter Green is happening this weekend. I, for one, am excited. I drafted him in a couple of drafted holds. I'm stashing him in another league. So it's a great time if you're patient with Hunter Green. He had surgery to remove bone chips earlier this year, been out all year, but looking like he should be returning here. He went 6th to 3rd through 82 pitches in his last rehab outing, so he's going to be stretched out. Don't forget how great Hunter Green has been. He has 2 straight seasons of a sub-3 ERA, 2.75 last year, with a 3.05 X ERA, a 3.06 Sierra. Extreme, awesome strikeout arm, 31.4% strikeout. He got the walks down to 6% last year. That's great to see. With a 0.94 whip. He has career best in overall contact rate last year, 71.1%, and a 15.4 swinging strike rate. He really started to come into his own last year. A lot of swing and miss and not a lot of walks. A great recipe. That type of ability is going to let him easily overcome pitching in Great American Ballpark. So I'm not worried about that. I am 100% all in on Hunter Green. Chase the Louder needs to be added back, y'all. He came back off the IL a few days ago. He's looked really good. And the thing is that the power has disappeared since May 1st. He only has two of his 5 home runs, but the strikeout rate is still there. He still makes decent contact with a 90.9 miles per hour exit velocity and a 44.4% hard hit rate in this time. He's got a decent launch of 13.3 degrees. He's a lefty batting in Cleveland, and Cleveland's ballpark has been known for the power for lefties. And so I do like that Chase the Louder. I do think he's still going to be able to get his power back. The barrel rate is down at this time, but when you're still making quality contact, got good lift, that makes me believe that there is a decent chance that barrels will start to come back. And at least lifting the ball there in Cleveland as a lefty with the amount of exit velocities that we're seeing, he should be able to get a little more power than what we see. The batting average has been good this entire time. He's batting 303 in this time. I think he's got a 277 batting average overall. So I think that there is that 303 batting average for the Louder has been in his last 52 plate appearances. But in these 52 plate appearances, he had a 54% hard hit rate. So he's hit the ball even harder recently than he had before. And I think there's only a chance here that he gets better. Look, the floor for DeLauder is a good batting average. The ceiling here is more power to go with the batting average. I know the Cleveland offense isn't all that great, but he's batting at the top of it. He's batting around some decent enough bats like Kyle Manzardo and Travis Pisana. So even without Jose Ramirez, he has a couple guys around him that should help him a little bit to get a little bit of more counting stats that you may think than batting for the Cleveland Guardians. But I think he is an ad. I think he's a 12-team, 3 outfield ad. He's an absolute ad in 5 outfield setups. Esmerlyn Valdez, my God, he is one of 6 players since 1900 to have a 4-game home run streak. That is an incredible stat, a nice little historic pace Valdez has been on. And his metrics look great when you look at the quality contact. We got a 95.5 mile per hour X velocity, 38% on the barrel rate, 69% of the hard hit. I mean, obviously, those metrics aren't going to continue. He did have a 14.7% barrel rate in AAA. So the dude does hit the ball really hard. And that I don't think there is a doubt about that. My problem is going to be the hit tool. He's a 38% strikeout rate with a 61% overall contact rate, a 17.1% swing and strike rate. He had just a 70% contact rate in AAA, so it's not like his hit tool was particularly good in the minors. And the thing is that like in order to add 61% on the contact rate, that's almost a no-go for me. Maybe in a deep league, you definitely want to add him in deeper leagues. But if you're in a 12-team, even a 12-team 5 outfield setup, I don't think he's an ad. I mean, if you want to stream him while he's hot, I guess, but just be cognizant that the floor is massive here. He is someone that is just extremely a high risk, high reward kind of dude right now. And so, I mean, if you want to ride while he's hot, I guess, but he's not a rest of season ad in 12-team leagues. Deeper leagues, yes, you're just looking for some production off the waiver wire in those deeper leagues, and Esmeralda Valdez obviously is providing that. But again, even for y'all, but just be aware of that potential floor. He might end up hurting your teams in the long run, so you might be ready to cut bait whenever the wheels inevitably fall off. Astros shortstop Jeremy Pena is now headed back to the injured list. What's been described as a mild left calf strain. There is currently hope. This is a minimal high IL stay. We've had a lot of that optimism and hope in a lot of guys this year. A lot of, oh well, maybe it'll be a minimum stay. It's just a mild strain, and like 2 months later, they're not even picking up a bat yet. And so, obviously keep an eye on the situation. He is a hold right now. I mean, the guy turned into the kind of player we were hoping he would be when we drafted him, when he came off, after he came off his first IL stint in the middle of May. In the last 156 plate appearances, he has 6 home runs and 7 steals, 29 runs, 21 RBI, a slash, a 307, 372, and 478. The quality contact numbers are not off the charts by any means. Just a 40.2% on the hard hit and a 4.5 on the barrel rate. However, he has really improved his ability to lift and pull the ball. He got over 50% on the pull rate for him. Good lift this year. And so, especially batting in Houston, that's going to allow him to overcome his lackluster hard hit metrics. But when you lift and pull the ball like that and still have a 40% hard hit rate, that's solid, right? This isn't like an Isaac Paredes situation where the exit velocities and the hard hit rates are non-existent, and he's 100% just pull and lift dude, just using a pure bat control in order to provide production he can provide. And so that is still a solid enough number. And I think that Jeremy Pena has kind of always been this guy. Last year he did get an 8% barrel rate. That's obviously what helped if he can get back to that. But he's a guy who's going to make a lot of contact. He's going to make enough hard contact to matter. He's going to be able to lift the ball. Well, now he's starting to lift the ball more than he has in the past. He's got more pull now, and those are only going to help aid the power. So Jeremy Pena, I think, is a hold right now while he was hurt. Keep an eye on the situation. Optimism for a minimum stay. But like I've said, that's just for now. Let's see what actually happens. Let's see here. Moving on to Jazz Chisholm. Talked a little bit ago about a high risk, high reward player like Esmerlyn Valdez. Well, that's exactly what Jazz Chisholm has been all year. I mean, a massive strikeout rate all year. Over his last 91 plate appearances, it has continued. We're looking at a 38% strikeout rate this time, only batting 179, but does have 6 home runs and 10 steals. This is reminding me of O'Neal Cruz from last year, where he was still getting home runs and steals, but killing your team's batting average. So if you're rostering Jazz Chisholm right now, just be aware of that. I mean, if you're a person in a roto league and you're way behind in batting average, and you have Jazz Chisholm on your squad, I would try to trade him to try and get someone that's going to help your batting average. And unless you're looking to punt batting average, which I'm not going to get into that right now, but I do not like the punting strategy in general. If you can probably stand to gain a lot of roto points by just getting Jazz Chisholm off your squad. Go ahead and see what you can get for him, as to get someone who's a little bit more well-rounded without this type of massive risk. Because he is striking out a ton. He's been striking out a ton all year, and only recently has the quality of contact metrics improved. Like even throughout, that's why I called him a major sell high earlier this year, was because not only was the hit tool poor, but he wasn't making the same kind of contact he usually does. Now that those numbers have corrected some, but that has come with a dramatic increase in strikeout rate to 38%. That is just a massive floor that I don't want on my rosters. So it is especially true if you are in a roto league and you're way behind the batting average. Now, I kind of skipped over the reason why I'm talking about Jazz Chisholm. He's in concussion protocol right now after a collision with Jason Dominguez last night. He was down for quite some time. He eventually got a treatment for his concussion, and now he's entering protocol. There is no word at the recording of this podcast on Tuesday morning if he is going to go on the 7-day concussion IL. So definitely keep an eye on that situation. If he is healthy, look to see what you can get. Let's see here. Tyler Glasnow is back to throwing again. He's suffered a couple setbacks so far in his return. And the Dodgers have stated the obvious here. They're slow playing him. They're going to take their time with him. I've said this 1,000 times about the Dodgers. They don't care about your fantasy teams. They care about October. They care about winning a title. And so keeping Tyler Glasnow healthy and ready for September, ready for the stretch run into the playoffs, that is what they're aiming for. If you have Tyler Glasnow on your roster, you're obviously holding him. The upside is tremendous, man. 33% strikeout rate this year with excellent ratios is who he is. This is not a surprise. Tyler Glasnow is a great starting pitcher. He is just always hurt, and he's currently hurt. They're slow playing him, and we'll see when he returns. But as of right now, he's just back to throwing again. Going to take their time. Going to go real slow. Going to try to avoid setbacks. That's the only thing that they really care about. Brennan Nemo has a sprained AC joint in his shoulder. As of now, there is no word on an IL stint. They're doing some testing today on Tuesday. But if he does come back and when he is healthy, I would consider him a buy low. And let me tell you why. Over his last 105 plate appearances, he only has one home run. He is batting .278 with a 327 on base and a 431 on the slug. But despite only having one home run, he has a 13.3% barrel rate and a 57.3% hard hit rate with the same usually solid strikeout rate he usually has. So it's not like it's a major drop off in bat tool or hit tool or anything. When you have a 13% barrel rate and over 100 plate appearances, you only have one home run. I call bullshit. You're going to get more homers. There's more to Brennan Nemo than what we've seen from him lately. So when he is healthy, when he comes back, I'll consider him a buy low. He's going to get more power than what we've seen lately. And go ahead and see what it would take to scoop him up from someone else's roster. If you have him, be patient, hold on to him. I wouldn't sell him, because with those metrics just scream that he's going to turn it around. Will Smith, Dodgers catcher, is currently not returning this week. There was some hope that he would with this neck inflammation that he's currently dealing with. So right now he's a hold. He is who he's always been. Solid power dude, batting in a Dodger lineup, giving you plenty of runs and RBI. So you're going to hold him. It doesn't look like there's going to be an extremely long absence. So we're not in a situation where we're dropping Will Smith. Now, Dalton Rushing has not been the guy we hoped he would be when he finally got a full-time playing spot. If you're in a 12-team one-catcher league, I think now's the time to go ahead and cut bait. There's not enough of a track record for me to say that Dalton Rushing is going to immediately start to turn it around, despite his hot start to the year. So he was a very popular ad, but it just hasn't worked out. And I think that now might be the time to find another option in 12-team one-catcher leagues. If you're in a deeper league, you can go ahead and keep holding him, keep running him out there, just in case he figures it out again. But a 12-team one-catcher setup, I will go ahead and move on. Let's see here. Carlos Estevez. Potentially another setback here. Reportedly didn't feel great after his last bullpen outing. Remember, he hurt his rotator cuff while rehabbing from a foot contusion earlier in May. They began the year with extreme velocity concerns, with the velocity down tremendously to begin the season. And so Carlos Estevez's year has just been lost so far. We'll have to see what the setback is. They're going to be reevaluating him here in the next day or so. So make sure you keep an eye on the situation. The good news for his fantasy value is that the Royal bullpen has not really produced a clear replacement for him. I mean, Alex Lang has been okay over the last couple of weeks, but I don't think he's a long-term closer solution for Kansas City. We all know about Lucas Hurtag's struggle. No one else has really stepped into the ninth inning role and inspired so much confidence that they will unseat Estevez whenever he comes back. So that's good news for his value. But staying healthy and getting back on the mound is the biggest obstacle right now for Estevez. I don't think he's worth an ad right now. I don't think he's someone that would really particularly look to stash. If you have an empty spot with no other real move to make, then okay, I guess, if you're not hurting your team. But I don't think he's like a must add. He's not a must stash right now. He is someone that may be closer to his return. I would look into adding him if I was looking for some saves. There's another thing to consider here. The Royals team context isn't all that great. So even if he does become the closer, it's not like going to be a ton of save opportunities for Estevez with a potential major threat to your ratios. And so he's far from a must add right now. Close to time, if you need some saves, then he might be an ad for you. But as of right now, we'll leave him on wires. All right, so let's get into everyone's favorite fantasy baseball topic: buy low, sell high. Let's begin with the sell highs. You would know this already if you followed me on Twitter at PaulW_34, where I posted a link to my blurb to Liam Hicks. And Liam Hicks is looking like he's going to be returning today on Tuesday. If not today, then here pretty soon. And whenever he does return, I would try and sell him high. So far this year, he has been phenomenal. He has slashed 278, 359, 472 on the slug. He has 13 home runs and 53 RBI and 288 plate appearances. If you have him, and like I did add him, and I got him a couple of spots, and consider yourself lucky, because there is not really outside of his hit tool. I will say this: he has an incredible hit tool. He makes a ton of contact. But this isn't like a Geraldo Perdomo situation last year, where Perdomo at least got his barrel rate up over 6%, and he had a little bit better pull, a lift in pull numbers. Liam Hicks, currently has a barrel rate sitting at just 4%, with a 30% on the hard hit rate. The pull air rate is only 19.5%. So it's not like this is a whatchamacallit, Isaac Paredes situation where we have like a 25-30% plus pull air rate that allows his power to play up without a hard hit metrics. It's 19.5% is only a couple of percentage points better than league average. And so that's not great. So I think he's going to be limited in the power department moving forward. With those soft contact, I think we're going to see the batting average 278. Yeah, maybe it can stay at 270, but this is definitely a sell high on the power side of things, on the run production side of things. He already has 53 RBI. He's not gonna be that guy anymore, y'all. Right now, he is on like a 30-35 home run pace with like 110 RBI. That's not Liam Hicks. That's not gonna be Liam Hicks's line at the end of the year. That's just not. It's not gonna happen. But he's certainly performing like it, and we are deep enough into the season that you might be able to find a manager who is convinced that Liam Hicks is for real. And so I would go ahead and try and trade Liam Hicks. Maybe I would rather have, honestly, Francisco Alvarez rest of the season than Liam Hicks, considering his elite quality contact numbers that we're actually seeing really good metrics from him, as opposed to what we're seeing from Liam Hicks. And I would try and trade a Liam Hicks for any kind of guy, any kind of player in the top 100, top 125, because I think Liam Hicks is more top 175, a guy with a decent batting average and a little bit of power. And that's who he is, right? And that can be fantasy viable, but I think you could trade him right now for someone who's more solidly in the top 100, top 125 range, because that's where I think that you can get value there. You're not going to be able to get like a top 50 guy from him. You're not going to be able to get a top 75 guy from him. You're not going to be able to get a stud. But you should be able to get a pretty solid dude in the top 100, top 125 range. All right, let's see here. The next sell high name before we get into a couple of buy lows and round out the podcast was going to be Kazuma Akabata. This dude is striking out way more than I thought he would when he first came over. I thought that he'd be the guy with a good hit tool and have a good batting average with some power. I didn't think he'd be this dude. But as of right now, over his last 106 plate appearances, he's batting 280, and he has a lot of power, 7 home runs. And I'm not calling out the power. I think Akamoto's power is legitimate. And we got he in this last 106 plate appearances, the barrel rate is let's see here. The Bears 13.6%. The barrel rate on the season is just over 14%. With solid exit velocities, but he's had a strikeout rate north of 30% the entire season. We got an overall contact rate recently of 65.7%. It's like 68% on the season. And like I've said, these type of high 60% contact rates can work, but the quality contact has to be extremely elite. Kyle Schwarber does it, but his barrel rate is close to or over 20% with a well over 50% hard hit rate. And we don't have that here with Akamoto. We have really good barrel rates. We have really good exit velocities of hard hits, but really good isn't good enough when you have a contact rate as low as his. And so the month of May, he hit 210. And I think that is who he is right now. With this type of hit tool, he is a guy who's going to bat in the low 200, going to bat 200, 210, 220 with good power. And that is like a top 150, top 175 dude. That is not the top 100 dude that he's performing like right now. So I would go ahead and try and see if you can get a more solid, well-rounded top 100 player for him, because I don't think is this guy who's batting 280 right now. His last 105 plate appearances, he's not that guy. What we saw in the month of May, we batted 210. That is who he probably is. But he did have 7 homers in the month. So the power will be there, but the batting average will tank you, and that's where you want to sell him high for. Let's see here. Let's get into the buy lows and begin with Julio Rodríguez. We're now at a point now. He's had 114 plate appearances of this dreadful production. He only has 2 home runs and 10 RBI with a 0.79 ISO, with a 218 batting average, 273 on the WOBA. But the xWOBA is 370. 370 on the xWOBA. The surface WOBA is 270. He has a 9.1% barrel, 46.8% hard hit rate, which is right at where he usually is, if not a little lower, actually. And I think we're going to see those numbers go back up, because in this time and all year, he has had an excellent bat speed and fast swing rate. In this time, that is 76.6 miles per hour bat speed, 65% on the fast swing rate. And so he already has the bat speed there to give you much better quality contact numbers. He actually has improved his end zone contact rate with an 89.8% end zone contact rate so far. And that's an improvement on his season and career numbers. So he's making a lot of contact in the zone with the fast swing rate, with the good barrel rate. We do have good exit velocities here, but the surface numbers have been absolutely positively dreadful. And I think that now is a time, but you could potentially buy him, because I think he's still a top 20 asset. And you could probably trade a top 50, top 60 asset for him right now. You could probably trade maybe CJ Abrams for him. Go ahead and try and see if you can trade anybody that you drafted in the top 50, top 60 of picks. I would try and trade one of those guys for Julio Rodríguez. But I do think that he is going to be a near first round asset for the rest of the season. And now is the time to buy in on him. The final buy low is my Astro dude, Christian Walker. Over his last 102 plate appearances, he does have 3 homers. That's okay. But the slash is only 202, 219, then 365 with a 72 on the WRC plus. The quality contact numbers actually are horrible, but there's a 1.9% barrel rate, 38% on the hard hit rate. However, the 2 numbers here that give me a lot of confidence in Christian Walker moving forward is that he still has a good bat speed of 74 miles per hour and a 43% fast swing rate, which is exactly where it has always been. And the thing is that he had a poor season last year because his hit tool regressed. And I honestly thought when I saw these numbers, maybe the hit tool is gone. No, actually. We're looking at a end zone contact rate of 88% In his down year last year, it was just at 80%, and 88% on the end zone contact rate is a pretty solid number. He's a guy who's making a lot of contact in the zone with a fast bat. That's going to get him back to where he was to begin the year. He has 19 homers on the year already. So he has shown this year that he can get back to being the guy we know he can be. And I think with this fast swing rate, the bat speed, with the end zone contact rate that we're seeing is all still there. The overall contact is still there at 75% on the overall contact rate. The swing extremity is there at 12%. Those numbers, those hit tool numbers, are where he was when he was a productive hitter in Arizona before he had his down year in Houston last year. So I think that Christian Walker still has the hit tool metrics that you're looking for when it comes to him specifically, because he fell off last year because of a poor hit tool. The bat speed is there. He's making contact in the zone. I think Christian Walker is someone who you can probably trade like a top 175 guy for him right now. You're probably trading a top 150 guy for him. See if you can trade Liam Hicks for Christian Walker. I would make that trade, and you might be able to get that deal because Hicks is first base and catcher eligible, and he does have the service numbers to show that he has been a productive bat this year. So see if you can trade Liam Hicks for Christian Walker, because Christian Walker has kind of a stink around him because of what happened last year. You might find a manager that might think that he is back to who he was last year, and that is not the case. I think you can confidently trade for Christian Walker. Treat him like a top 125 asset in a deal, because I think that's who he is. I think you can trade for him right now for a guy closer to the top 175 range, and I think you can get really good profit from a deal like that. All right, y'all, that brings to the end of the podcast. As always, an honor and a privilege giving us podcast, give y'all some information, advice to help you win your leagues, give your team the boost. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at PaulW_34. Make sure you follow me on Bluesky with no underscore. That's at PaulW34 there. Make sure you follow the Sports Ethos Fantasy Baseball accounts at Ethos Fantasy BB on Twitter, at Ethos Fantasy MLB on Bluesky. Updates all of our in-season content. Check out that blurb feed at sportsethos.com under the MLB tab to get free fantasy baseball analysis. And one last ask, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. Please rate and subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Audible, Spotify, and on YouTube at Sports Ethos on the YouTube Sports Ethos channel. All right, I'm Paul Williamson. This has been Fantasy MLB Today, a Sports Ethos presentation brought to you by FanDuel. Y'all have a good one.